thanks to the support as a channel member, Liam Cooney. This is what Wimbledon paid for with me. None of this rebuilding using players from within the Premier League or even within Europe. We've had the January transfer window. I've signed 2 players from Cologne and brought in a fancy South Korean. This is my world knowledge. This is what they're getting with me. We managed to spend £40 million, give or take, actually probably about closer to 35 in the January transfer window without selling loads of players. We continued to throw players out on loan, but we set most of the players that were out of contract in the summer to release, and that freed up the wage budget, which allowed us to shuffle some around. We also, because we're doing well in the league, got to up our budgets that way as well. The one big sale we did have was Zach Jones, the left midfielder who couldn't possibly bring himself to play on the left wing. So he's gone to Reading for £13.75 million. We also sold Daniel Bailey to Wolves for £2 million and Alex Edwards to Ipswich for £1.3 million. That was a combined of just of those three, about £200,000 a week off the wage budget. It was insane. A few more of the fringies went out on loan. And these are the boys that have arrived. So first one through the door, Tom Robert Flatgaard is a 20-year-old Norwegian under 21 international goalkeeper. Decent potential. We've spent £7 million on him. He's not going to play for us straight away, but he will play for us probably next season, if not the season after. We're investing for the future there, and then more investing for the future. If you'd have had to have guessed 2 players to come in from Cologne, I don't think you'd have guessed 2 defenders, certainly not these 2 either, but Dante Cruz is in for £10 million. Palazzo had already left and gone somewhere else in Europe, and let's face it, we didn't want his nonsense anyway, but Dante Cruz is in, now 21 years old, natural centre-back, 6'5", and you can't teach that. Also a natural wing-back now, after we forced him to play there so many times when he was trying to break into the team. But we're not just signing him because he's a good defender, but of course he's going to be a goal threat as well from those set pieces, and has been a regular at Cologne this season after I've moved on. We also signed Thomas Minacho, the 22-year-old right back that we signed in our Copa Libertadores winning season. He came in and was brilliant. We spent £3.6 million on him to sign him for Cologne, £11 million to bring him to Wimbledon, and will be our starting right back. Could also cover at centre back if he has to, but he's 5'8", so he won't. And then we've also, on deadline day, signed Yang Tae-gyu. He's a 22-year-old South Korean international, 37 caps for South Korea already. He's already considered an elite winger at 22 years old. He's come in at 4.5 stars of current ability. Yes, we're paying him an absolute fortune, but look at what's happened to his value. I don't know how that player has ended up at Wimbledon for less than £5 million. He is our new best player by a gazillion miles. There's your confirmation. So we've strengthened the defence, got ourselves a backup goalkeeper for the future, and a proper good attacker. And having a proper good attacker means that Caicedo now has to reforce his way back into the team. Maybe at centre forward, or maybe at 31 we move him on in the summer. Al Nassr are interested in him. We'll figure out what we're going to do with him eventually. As far as form goes, we did have that fantastic run that we talked about in the last episode that got us up into the Champions League positions in the Premier League. Things have been a little bit rough since then. We've not won a huge amount of football in the last 6 weeks or so, but we do still find ourselves in 4th place in the Premier League after that good run of games that we had before. Man City are only a point behind with a game in hand, but I suspect the top 5 get into Champions League anyway. We're still not really thinking in terms of the possibilities of Champions League qualification. We're more thinking Europe of some flavour might be nice, and once we get past Manchester United, who we're playing today, we have that run of games again that we just won every one of when we played them previously. Leeds, Everton, Blackburn, Derby, Bournemouth, Villa, Brighton, Forest, Barnsley, all the way through. I mean, that we could potentially win all of them again, and then the last 4 games, 3 of them are quite hard. One of them is West Ham. So, yeah, I think we've got a very good chance of a very good Premier League finish. Importantly, on 42 points, we're not getting relegated, which was my goal for the season. The board were looking for mid-table. We did upgrade that to a top half finish. So we have to make sure we finish top half. That's how we were able to do our January spending. But the majority of these players we've not really had a look at in a Wimbledon shirt yet because they came in relatively late. Yang has only arrived in the country yesterday. But we are playing Manchester United, and Manchester United, in this weird version of the future, are quite good. They're second in the Premier League, and it's going to be a tough one, I think, especially because we are still struggling goalkeeper-wise. We had a spell where Sidibe and Clements were both injured, which is why we brought in the young goalkeeper. But then where is he? Why can't I? Right, I've lost my goalkeeper. There he is. Let's pop him up into the first team squad and pop him on the bench because Clements is still injured. So he can come up there. And yeah, that's why we needed a third goalkeeper, because they were both injured at the same time. But now Clements is injured again. He's just constantly injured. So it's going to be Sidibe in goal, a back four of Hines, Mamani, Huza, and Owusu. Jihan, I think was how I was told to pronounce his name. Basinger and Rossi in midfield. Jimmo, Yang on his debut, and Kasongo up front. We have got Cruz and Manacho down on the bench as well. Manacho is shattered. He's not fit to play. Dante Cruz. We're just letting him settle in slowly. I don't know that throwing him in against Manchester United is the way forward for a young defender that I didn't start loads at Colon. It was only towards the end of my time there that he broke into the team, and I'm more interested in getting him settled into the back four during that run of matches that we'd like to think we're going to do quite well in, rather than a big game against Manchester United. That's not to say he won't come on. I just think it's probably better to drift the new signings in gently and slowly. I don't want to alarm anybody. The reason you just had a very abrupt cut there, we made it about 40 minutes into that match. We were 1-0 up. And the game crashed again. This isn't happening in any other save files. This is happening quite regularly in this save file now. I worry that it might be because we're nearly 20 years into the future on a custom database. It's only happening in matches, which suggests it's not a database thing. I don't really know what the problem is, but obviously if it continues, we really might have to hurry up and get the save finished before the save file falls apart. Getting into the Champions League this season might become a priority, which, I mean, one of the things I was saying in the bit that I guess you'll never see, I hate having to re-record. I hate it. But one of the things I was saying is obviously if we do beat Manchester United, I think we probably are in the race for the Champions League. We probably won't now in this stupid alternate universe. But who knows, eh? What we're supposed to be doing is keeping a close eye on Yang, who is on his debut. He is one of the best players in the... is he one of the best players in the Premier League? The Media Dream 11. He's not in that. The little bit that you have next to the Media Dream 11. You only have to scroll like one player down to get to him. I am aware that that every club is limited to just 2 players on there. So there could be 12 Liverpool players all better than him, for example. But when it comes to best players at clubs, he's like one of the 5th or 6th best players at club in the Premier League, which is, I mean, a pretty good situation to be in. I have no idea how he's ended up here, and fingers crossed he can show us how fancy he is on his debut against one of the best teams in the Premier League. That'd be nice, but it is Manchester United on the attack here again. In the alternate universe, we had none of this. That's a good save from Sidibe. We did, again, I mean, I've got to mention it because this is why I left it in yesterday, because it was so early in the match. Can't really do that when it's 40 minutes in. But Yang missed 2 really, like, proper sitters. But we did go 1-0 up off of a corner. You know, I love a corner. Right, Mamani to Jimmo. Jimmo playing it in, looking for Kasongo, who can't get a proper touch on it and is very quickly smothered. Both Kasongo and Caicedo are wanted by Saudi Arabian clubs. I'm not completely against selling both of them in the summer if we get mega Saudi Arabian money, but there is a potential scenario where I guess we only sell one of them. We'll have to decide which one goes. Yang plays it into Jimmo. That is a big miss. Kasongo has been looking better and better on the current run that we've been on. I say the current run. The first half of the season is probably how you would describe it. Kasongo is into double figures for goals. Caicedo, of course, has been relegated to playing out wide, but Caicedo is bigger and stronger and I think quicker, but also in his early 30s, whereas Kasongo is English and only 25. So I guess logic dictates you sell Caicedo. We've got Yang in to now start on the right-hand side. So that's a terrible pass, and that's leading to all sorts of problems. We're swarming back to try and cover for it. It was a weirdly slow attack from Manchester United. They were kind of gifted it on a plate and didn't really do anything with it, and we're faffing around with the ball again. Oh my word. I mean, I guess it shows confidence. Confidence is good, but please just get the ball forward. Be a little bit more direct. Oh my word, they're doing it again. We've already given them one chance faffing around like this. Look at us. We think we're prime Barcelona. Just faff around with it. There's no way we could give the ball away for the second time in the same move. Oh no. Get the players off of ball-winning or ball-playing defender instruction. I mean, it was the wing-back who gave it away there. It wasn't even one of the ball-playing defenders. But I don't know that we should be using I don't want to see the replay. I don't know that we've actually got ball-playing defenders. We've got both of them on an instruction to do it, but it may just be asking for trouble. And Hines, who did give away the ball for the goal, is now faking an injury because he's embarrassed. We don't have a left back to come on. So I think we bring on Dante Cruz and just shuffle everything around a little bit. Get Dante Cruz in there. We're going to go attacking, and hopefully Dante Cruz from a corner. We want a big boy moment. At this point in the alternate universe, we were 1-0 up, not 1-0 down. I am furious at how this... And now we've lost one of our best players with a potential knee injury as well. We don't have a lot of midfielders either. Can he even play centre mid? No, it's one of those ridiculous situations. Can play defensive midfield. Couldn't possibly play central midfield. So what we're going to have to do is just swap those two over because he can play central midfield. It's ridiculous. Absolutely absurd the way Football Manager is sometimes. But you get penalised for playing out of position. So you have to pander to the nonsense. Right. It is Manchester United on the attack again. I wouldn't be at all upset about losing this match if we hadn't have been winning it. I need a blow to the head to make me forget what could have been. That's frustrating. That's why we need a proper goalkeeper. Well, I guess we forget any thoughts that we might have had about Champions League qualification. Although we do still have that run of relatively straightforward games to come, but this time we're going into it off the back of some really terrible form. We have been pretty rough throughout January when we've played all the big teams. And I guess it's a question now of how quickly we can turn that around. We've been gifted one here. Kasongo gets there first and scores. I mean, there's some chaotic defending from both teams. I don't think I've seen that exact goal on FM24 before. This is madness. Their goalkeeper plays it to the defender. He tries to give it back, but the goalkeeper, he could have just closed the gap, but he ran away, then comes back. Never second guess yourself as a goalkeeper. If you're an aspiring goalkeeper watching this, goalkeeping coaching from Kev, commit. Don't second guess yourself. Don't change your mind. That's what happens when you change your mind. You get caught in no man's land. Right, we've got a lot of tired legs. Bazza is going to come on. Yang on his debut hasn't really done much, has he? But Caicedo can come on for him. And then we can also bring on Minacho as well. And we're going to go very attacking. And fingers crossed, we're going to find a way back into the game. I mean, I would love it to be via a Dante Cruz header because I feel like that's the right way to introduce our new 6'5" giant. But I can cope with it if anyone else scores. I don't mind that much. Can somebody do something? We've gone very attacking and there's not going to be a single highlight, is there? What a strange game of football this has been. 8 minutes of time added on as well. Oh, nothing. We played almost half an hour very attacking there and didn't get a single highlight. Don't switch to very attacking. Let's see what damage has been done to Basinger. Probably a cruciate ligament if it was a knee injury. That would be a disaster. Bruised knee one day. You could have stayed on then. You absolute coward. Right. Once again, we are going to get some matches under our belt. Probably get about halfway through this run of games. Maybe Bournemouth or Villa will come back for, and get an idea of where we're shaping up for the run-in. Well, we're not going to win every game on this run, but we have won 3 of the first 4, just the draw against Blackburn, ruining it for everybody. Mike Kasongo is scoring for fun, and he's in fact the current Premier League top scorer, so maybe he will be okay for us to keep around. Lazio want him. That might not be ideal. But what is ideal is that Yang is looking super duper. 5 games played, 2 goals, 5 assists, a 7.74 average rating. He is everything we hoped he would be. And today we faced Bournemouth with, we're still trying to push on and maintain that top 5 position. Top 5 should be enough for the Champions League. And I think, assuming we win this one, and we should, Bournemouth are bottom of the league, we would be 8 games from the end of the season and 8 points clear of 6th place. I think we probably have to stop managing expectations and go for a Champions League qualification spot if we win here. If we don't, then let's not worry about it. So it's Clements in goal, a back 4 of Hines, Huza, Mamani and Owusu, Xian behind Kawasaki and Basinger, Jimmo and Yang behind Kasongo up front. Kasongo has had a little bit of a knock over the last week. He didn't actually play in the previous match, but he did score in the previous 4 consecutive matches. I think he got 6 goals in 4 matches, then picked up a knock and had to miss a match. So this would be, if he scores today, 5 games in a row where he grabs a goal. He's certainly benefiting more than anybody, I think, from Yang being at the club. The 2 of them combining beautifully on many, many occasions, and hopefully we see a little bit more of that today. That would be absolutely super. Good work from Kawasaki. Yang is in and Yang scores. He's just very good. That's his 3rd goal since arriving, and I mean, less than £5 million. What a find. People have asked me how I found him. He just came up on my scout report. There's nothing fancy in that. It wasn't even a director of football recommendation. I just went onto my scout reports. It was deadline day. We'd done our essential business. We'd brought in the goalkeeper and the 2 defenders that aren't in the team. You know, our essential business. I had £5 million left in the budget on deadline day. Went to my scouted players list, filtered it to 23 and under on age, and then put it in order of scout recommendation. He was the only A+ scout recommendation that we had, and he was affordable. And it's like, well, okay, we'll sign him then. We weren't looking for a right winger. I don't know how he was found originally, or who found him, or why we're scouting South Korea in the first place, but it was just a beautiful example of scouting in Football Manager doing wonderful things. I don't know why there was no big club to pick him up. For him to already be considered an elite player, that means reputation-wise, he was already quite good, and you would think that would be enough to put him on the radar of some of the top clubs, especially at the price he was at. I'm not going to complain. I don't know how long we're going to keep him for. I guess this is where we do start to think in terms of, well, if we get into the Champions League, we've got a better chance of keeping that kind of player. If we don't, then obviously he's going to go and play for a big club, because he should be playing for a big club. Anyone who was worried about bringing him in because he's untried, untested in Europe, untried and untested in the Premier League, well, yeah, it's only his 6th game, but he's been brilliant in all 6 of them. And I think it's pretty clear he's good enough for the Premier League, and probably therefore also good enough to play in the Champions League. And I think any club in Europe would now be looking at him thinking, yeah, we'll have a bit of that. It's going to cost you a lot more than £5 million though. £80 million, please, of which I'd only get to keep 20 of it. Why is there such a big gap here? This troubles me, because I think that's where for goodness sake. I mean, luckily it's hit the post, but there's not a chance Clements is getting across to save that. Very, very silly. Right, Mamani playing it forward, looking for Yang. I mean, there was probably better passes he could have made, but I understand A, why he's looked for Yang, and B, why he wasn't keen to faff around passing the ball around the back 4. So if we're going to give the ball away from our defenders, which we do a lot, if we're going to do it, I'd rather we gave it away like that rather than passing it into the path of an on-rushing striker. That's a lovely touch from Jimmo, by the way, and unfortunately and go on to do anything with it. But it looked good initially, and now Hines, who was a centre-back when we arrived, he's now very much our starting left-back. Jian plays it forward to Basinger, and now Yang has got space to run into again. He's taken a couple of touches, bursting past his man, and it's saved by the Bournemouth goalkeeper. We've got a corner, and it's going to be Yang himself to come across here to take it, looking for that into. Oh, he's driven in low. That's not really a Kev-style corner. I'm not really sure what he's thinking, but because it was so unusual, it did create a little bit of chaos in there, which is, I mean, we're all for chaos in the opposition penalty area. 1-0 at half-time. I feel like against the worst team in the league, we could potentially be doing a little bit better. They've not really shown any kind of ambition, although we've had 27% possession, I've just seen on there. We're 1-0 up as the team pushing for the Champions League against the team bottom of the league, and we've had 27% possession. You can take the long ball nonsense out of Wimbledon. What? I was going somewhere with it. We don't even play long ball. I don't know why we've given up so much possession today. It's not a conscious thing. We're playing our usual style, which usually doesn't sacrifice this much possession. But clearly, we've just decided to be a little bit more direct today. 27% possession is baffling. They've had 72% of the ball and done literally nothing with it. I don't look at these stats very often. I feel like I should go and look at them a little bit more often. Are we usually almost no possession? I mean, I know we've not got much of a midfield. I feel like we should retain the ball a little better than that, though. Right, Hines is going to have to come off. Minacho will come on, and he'll go over to right back. We're also going to take off Sheehan. Rossi can come on for him. Oh, we've got lots of tired legs. Jimo's going to come off. Kawasaki is going to come off as well. We have run out of midfielders again, as we do so often. I guess we bring on another striker in this situation. If you run out of midfielders, bring on a striker, boys and girls. He likes to be a pressing forward, so we'll do that. I mean, when we're already winning, it's a little bit ambitious, but we've got to work with the players that we've got. There's nobody else who can play central midfield. We need midfielders. That is our priority for the summer. Obviously, in January, we focused on bringing in defenders for squad depth that we're not even really using now. But we will use them. I mean, obviously, Dante Cruz, Minacho, these are long-term signings. They're 21 and 22 years old amongst a bunch of defenders who are ancient. So there's going to be, expect them to be rotated in to be our starters next year. Yang's picked up a knock here, which is a disaster. He's been so good. Who's that standing over him? Just keep an eye on him. Are you really injured or are you faking? There you go. He's gone to sit down at the side. That's not ideal. This would be a problem if he picks up an injury because he has been such an important player for us. He's still lying down. You can't see him because he's under my face. There you go. He's rolling around on the side here. I mean, what's he doing? Get the stretcher out. I mean, the physio could do a little bit more than just stand there next to him. It's like the physio's just stood there like this. Look. I'm not going to treat you until you stop being silly. Calm down and I will see if you're actually hurt or if you're just faking. But no, you're screaming and shouting and being silly. I'm not going to reward this kind of behaviour. He has got up and he's got himself another assist, and it's Thiago Henrique who's there at the near post. This is why Dante Cruz is going to be so important for us long term, because it's always somebody different at that near post and it's never a 6'5" monster. But when we do get somebody there, it is still effective. There's Yang again. I'm now carrying that injury. I would very much like to be able to take him off and wrap him in cotton wool, unlike my physio, who's a monster. But let's just see the game out, I guess. Bayer wins the ball back, bursts into the area, should have scored. It's a good save by the goalkeeper, actually. It's gone behind for a corner. And, I mean, we're going to hit another in-swinger, I guess. Yang's come deep. Don't give it to him. He's injured. He doesn't need to be kicking the football. Cross comes in, looking for... I mean, I don't know who that was. He didn't have one of our players named on him. Minacho trying to thwack it in from long range. He's not able to. 34% possession we've ended up on in the end today it is pathetic. But we've won another football match. That's 4 wins in 5. We are, I was going to say, charging up the table, continuing to be quite high up the table. And tomorrow's episode is going to be I guess Chelsea and Arsenal as 2 big games at the end of the season, hopefully for Champions League qualification. That would be ideal. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. Thank you very much to all of these beautiful Patreon folk. And thank you very much for watching.